now. And there we go. And now we are live and recording. A couple of things before we roll into this. There are a number of handouts available. So if you see your side viewer, it looks kind of like this picture here on the right-hand side. You'll see a section marked handouts. We have a number of tools available for you. I'll get into that in a minute. First, let me introduce myself. My name is Mike Rogerson. I'm the marketing director for North America. I will be the lone speaker today. Usually I do the introductions for these webinars, and we have a subject matter expert coming in talking about code or installation or storage or something of that nature. Today, it's just me, and we'll be going into closing and messaging at the kitchen table to the homeowners. Those tools that I mentioned, so we have how to sell SolarEdge. This is the white paper. It's the fundamental source for this presentation. So if you're able to get that, you can get it from the link here, or you can just download it directly from your handout section. You'll also see that we have a blog available for you as well. It has the same content on the blog, along with a number of other pieces of content. So our blog has been a good resource for us to kind of post information, just so you can kind of get it, read it, and understand it a little bit in detail. We also have a number of flyers for you to use directly with homeowners. And so this is not a technical explanation of the hardware. It's a little bit higher level explanation of the hardware, talking about the inverter extended warranty, talking about the monitoring application, and talking about the consumption monitoring. We'll talk about the last two a little bit more in detail as we go through the webinar. So the last thing, we do have a flyer, a homeowner flyer that you can leave with the homeowners, and we do want to make an opportunity available for you to co-brand. So we've been doing some co-branded flyers. We have about 100 of these already. Over 100 customers have taken us up on this. It's easy. It's free. We don't charge anything. What we're going to provide you when we do this, we're going to put your logo. If you send in your logo on this form, obviously this form's not active, but you go to this link and fill out the form, give us your logo. We will email it back to you, and it's a print-ready version. So if you're familiar with printing, this means it has the full bleed marks. It has where the printers are going to cut the copy, so you'll get that version of it. You're not getting a normal PDF that you might see emailed around. This is a print-ready version with your logo on it. So please take us up on that offer. I've had a number of people already do so, and we recommend that. That's an easy way. Today we're going to be talking a lot about customer acquisition, and I did want to run a poll quickly for you. The basic question that we're asking here is, how are you addressing customer acquisition cost or just acquiring new customers? So let me go ahead and make this poll available to you. Hopefully you're seeing this. And we will say, okay, we're starting to get some results in now. So I'll let this run for a little bit. Basically, how are you addressing customer acquisition cost? And what we're trying to do here is see, how do you go about acquiring more leads? Do you hire people to build your sales team that are maybe lower cost than the guys you have now? Do you pay for external services, something like lead acquisition services? Do you just train people more? Do you focus on referral business? We've seen that to be pretty popular. Or do you just try and create bonus structures or other financial incentives? So we got over 50% have voted already. Okay, we got a couple more people. We're about where... All right, we're starting to get to a point where we probably have a good picture of this, and I'll just give you an idea of the results that we're seeing. In general, focus on referrals. 70%, and in case you haven't noticed, you can select more than one entry here. 70% of you have said focus on referrals, and that number continues to go up. The second place one is focus on training, and then in general, I'm seeing 20, 20, 20 on the last three, but focus on referrals is a major piece of it. And that's not surprising. Definitely expected to see something along those lines. So that's good information for us to look at, and we'll cover that today. So I'll go ahead and close that, and we'll go back to our slides here. All right, customer acquisition. So why is it such a focus, and why are we focusing an entire webinar on customer acquisition? A lot of times, we might talk about panel costs or inverter costs, and especially with panels, they've come down enough today to where panels are not the main target. Inverters have never really been the main target in terms of cost. We're about 10% of the total system price. National average reported price, $3.50, somewhere around there. That comes from Green Tech Media. You can see the sources on the bottom. Over 50% of that is what they're labeling as soft cost. So these are permitting, inspection. Customer acquisition is a part of soft cost. It is not the entire piece of soft cost. Customer acquisition is around 10 to 20% though. So if you're looking at how much of that pie is customer acquisition, it is today 40 to 90 cents per watt, according to some sources, which is more expensive than some panels. So if you're thinking about how are you going to get to the sub $3 level, how are you going to get the 299 point, how are you going to go and compete in 2017 and 2018, a strategy around customer acquisition cost is mandatory, and that's sort of why we're going to focus on it today. So how do you lower it? Basically, you only have two levers. You have to have end customers that you're closing. So you need a big funnel. That's the imagery that we always use. So you have a lot of customers coming into the funnel at the top, and then at the bottom you have customers coming out. So that's your close rate. So you either talk to more customers or you increase your close rate. If you're going to talk to more customers, usually you're paying for that. So you're going to hire more salespeople. You're going to pay for telemarketers. You're going to pay for advertising. You're going to pay for people to be at your local hardware store. So these are expensive, and these are investments. The things around increasing your close rate might be more interesting to look at, though. And I think better training was number 2, and referrals was number 1. And you can see that those both come into close rate. So I think we're kind of landing on the same page here in terms of the messaging. Better training, quicker sales, more referral business, lead quality. And that's what kind of the referral business comes to. Referral business tends to be our highest quality lead, but there are other sources of leads that can offer very high quality as well. And then the training piece. And that's why you're all here today, is for the training. So where's the market going? And this is one trend that we kind of see going into 2017 and 2018. If you look at cars, and I know it's not 100% accurate analogy. Anytime you put up an analogy, there are issues with it. But think of 50 years ago when you bought a car. You would maybe walk onto the lot, look around, see the cars. A salesman would come and talk to you, and then an hour and a half later, you're buying a car. We see some parallels with solar in that today. A salesman comes and talks to you. Maybe it's at Lowe's, maybe it's at your home, and an hour and a half later, you signed up on a sheet of paper. But this is quickly eroding. And we've seen a lot of pushback, especially in some of the markets that are heavily saturated in terms of sales and marketing approaches. We're shifting now, especially if you look at cars, again, for that analogy. Where's that market gone? You've got sites that provide reviews for different cars. You've got tons of information on cars. You can know anything you want about a car before you buy it. Headroom and legroom, and how many airbags it has, and what's the horsepower and the torque curves. And you've got reviews, and you go and you test drive these cars. And a lot of times before you walk on to the lot, you have multiple bids in hand. And so we're starting to see some signs of that now with solar. And this is the introduction of the educated buyer. So now you have a buyer who knows about solar, he knows about panels, he knows about inverters, he knows about storage. And as we shift over to this demographic of more the educated buyer, we need to know more about technology when we sell to them. We can't just tell them this is going to be a lower cost of electricity, or today you pay too much to your utility company, and instead be your own utility company, or I'll be your utility company. Like these types of sales, while they were easy and quick, aren't attaching as much anymore. We do have this introduction of this educated buyer who wants to know more about what he's getting himself into for this $25,000 investment. And in a lot of cases, they may have multiple bids in hand before they talk to you. So talking tech. First of all, obviously we're here for SolarEdge webinar. SolarEdge is a growing brand. We're number 1 in the residential inverter space in the United States. We've won multiple awards. Our latest award is on the HD Wave technology. We've set multiple records. The latest is, again, on HD Wave technology for CC conversion efficiency of 99%. We're highly bankable. We've been profitable since we went public. And we've got another transition that we kind of see here is we've got a lot of benefits to add with these inverters, and we have a lot of options. So some installers are starting to lean away from panels. So 2 years ago, you'd go and you look at a solar installer webpage, and it would be all about here's a picture of a house with solar panels on it. And if you want to know the bells and whistles, it's about solar panels and more solar panels and that type of thing. We're seeing a shift away from that because solar panels get you only so far. It's efficiency and color and aesthetics. And in a lot of ways, the solar panels have gone the way of how does your house look after you get it installed. Do you have blue panels on your roof or black panels on your roof? Do you have black frames? How's your racking? So it's become more around aesthetics. And there's obviously the power component of it and how it looks. But other than that, what are the benefits? And a lot of those are now coming into what inverter you choose. So we'll go into that in a little bit of detail. SolarEdge is a 1, 2, 3 solution. We do have the storage, so 1, 2, 3, 4 maybe. We have the inverters on the ground level, we have the optimizers on the rooftop level, and we have the cloud-based monitoring portal. And all three of these come together in your sales pitch and how you're going to communicate to customers. So first of all, higher energy yield. So this is coming from those power optimizers. So we're optimizing each panel. We're getting that boost in energy. You're not worried about so much soiling. You're not worried about so much of the shading. And this goes hand in hand with better aesthetics as well. You're not worried about electrical system design constraints where you have to take a panel out or put in a dummy panel that doesn't even work. Now all of your panels are connected. They're performing as well as they can, even if they're getting some early morning shade from a chimney or late afternoon shade from a chimney the rest of the day or the rest of the season, they can work fine. You're going to install that panel. And this is going to give you more of that kind of rectangular box look when you're not shade phobic. You're not taking panels out near obstructions. You can kind of design more to the architecture of the building, and you're not trying to dodge shade profiles in the building. Also, we're able to back up the warranty. So we got a bankable product. We're a bankable company. And that kind of means a lot. Obviously, some homeowners are starting to be more concerned around longevity of anyone in the industry. So panel manufacturers have had trouble. Installers have had trouble. So having two components, having a quality installer that you're representing as your brand, and then having quality components that are bankable, that's starting to become more of a conversation that you need to have at the kitchen table as well. Integration with storage. So if you're looking to provide storage connected with PV and you're not providing backup, we'll get into that in a little bit. But that's what customers are going to expect. When the power goes off, I've got solar on my rooftop, and this stuff still works, right? So how are you going to answer that question? So monitoring, they want to see how their system is performing. They want to know something, right? Right now, it's magic blue panels you put on the rooftop, and somehow at the end of the month, their electricity bill is less, or maybe it's not. How do they know? So giving them visibility into their system performance. Safety, this is not something we'll go into in detail with a homeowner, but knowing that you have the latest code compliance, right? So compliant to the latest standards, latest specifications. That's what they want to hear. That's what they want to understand. And then options. So, okay, you've got that. What about consumption monitoring, cellular connectivity, more options in the future? So who's really pushing the envelope in terms of options? So we'll break it open into three main areas: more energy, latest in safety, and storage with backup. I'll talk about these in some detail. On the more energy side, because we don't want to get into too much physics, unless the homeowner is an electrical engineer, a lot of times you're not going to go into the mismatch and the IV curves, and you're not going to dive into that level of detail. You're going to keep it higher level. So again, we're going to look at analogies and we're going to look at comparable situations. First of all, more energy equals more savings. So this is why they care. This is why they want more energy from their rooftop and from their system, is it's going to lower their bill more than comparable technology. In traditional systems, you would connect panels in strings. So, if they have experience with older Christmas lights where you have one bulb go out and the whole string goes out, it's going to give them an idea of one element in the string being coupled to other elements and affecting other elements. So that'll help them kind of understand the mismatch losses. That'll kind of help them understand if one panel fails in the string, that the whole string is going to go out. You can also look at other analogies. Maybe they didn't have those type of Christmas tree lights, but a lot of people have been in a three-legged race. And do you run faster in a three-legged race, or do you run faster when you're by yourself? So the idea of independent operation outperforming, kind of coupling things together, and that idea folks get. So the three-legged race is where you have two people, you tie their middle legs together when they're standing side by side. Now you make them run 40 yards and they always trip and fall or go slow, and it's fun at picnics. But it's not so fun when you're trying to design solar systems. You want these panels independently operating. Same thing, Tandem bicycles. Maybe you notice in their garage they have a tandem bicycle. So do you go faster with a tandem bicycle, or do you go faster on the mountain bike, right? When you're by yourself. So a lot of these performance related to independent operation. That's kind of the bottom line that we want to get in their mind right now. So with SolarEdge, we're obviously putting the power optimizers on the rooftop. Each panel is getting independent control. It's working on its own to its best ability. And then we're going to group all of that together and take all of that energy as a group now and put it into the inverter. On safety, so again, this is another high level. So we want to keep things fairly high level for safety, but everyone's bought a car, that you're talking to. A lot of people have 2 or 3 cars. And if you're buying a newer car, you're thinking, what about airbags? What about collision avoidance? What about autopilot? So the latest in safety technology is what people are interested in when they're thinking about cars. They kind of want to check that block. It's not the first thing they're looking for. Maybe though, if you're buying a car for a teenager, like we just did, you are looking at safety as one of your primary things. But it's a consideration. It's a block that they want to check, and they want to understand, how does this solar system play into safety? So with safety, a car analogy is a good place to start. You want all this stuff. You don't ever want to use it, but you want to have it, and you want it surrounding you in a kind of a ball of safety. So you can get the same peace of mind with your solar system with a SolarEdge technology. A way to think of it, with the power optimizers controlling the power, they can provide kind of an off switch for the panels. So, here's a nice visual. You have off switch on the panels. And if I, as the installer, need to get up there and work on those panels, now I can turn them off and I can go work on those panels. And they're not producing all of this energy like they're used to producing during normal operations. Or, in the case of an emergency, a first responder needs to get up there. We can do the same thing. So, service, installation, first responder emergencies. Now that system is going to be working just like you have an off switch on the panels. Some homeowners may think this is an obvious thing. Why don't panels always ship with off switches? Well, now they kind of do. It's good that we're there as an industry with NEC 2017. We know that the voltage control at the panel level is becoming more important. But it's taken the industry a long time to get here, and technologies haven't always been where they're offering this. So it seems obvious maybe to a homeowner, but now we have it more as an industry. So installers are responsible for all code compliance. So let them rest assured, they don't have to read these books. They don't have to download NEC 2014 or NEC 2017 and know it by heart. You're going to be responsible as an installer for making sure that everything's code compliant. And just know that advanced systems like the SolarEdge system is going to give you the latest in code compliance. And that's kind of the airbag idea that you're going to drive home. On storage, storage is very popular. It's a hot topic today. A lot of people are asking about it. Storage was one of the first times that we saw a large amount of homeowners coming to our web and looking at our blogs and looking at our materials because they wanted to learn more about storage. And they were learning about the SolarEdge inverter and what kind of batteries it works with and how to get their home ready. I think if you look back over the last 10 years, Surprise 1.0 was, hey, I have PV. Does the PV work when the grid goes off? And we know it doesn't. The PV needs to turn off. It can't backfeed into the grid. That's to protect the line workers who are working to get the grid back online. And we seem to get some disappointed looks, but in general, it wasn't the end of the sale. Surprise 2.0, hey, PV, now you're going to have batteries coupled to it. Guess what? It may still shut down even if the grid goes off. So this is turning our customers into this guy, right? Are you kidding me? I've got batteries on the system. It doesn't work when the grid's down. What's going on here? You're selling me a bill of goods and I'm not interested. So that's one of the ways to think about storage. It works in backup mode to keep the house powered up. So finally, when the grid goes down, your PV still works, your batteries still work. And it takes a couple seconds to turn on, so your lights will go off, your lights will come back on. You might have to hit the power button on the TV again. But you're going to have power. Your PV system is still working, even when the grid's down, assuming the sun is shining, obviously. So this may have your customers saying, like one of our customers in Australia said, blackout? What blackout? I didn't know we had one. So this will be more common for your customers who have storage. So communicating storage to homeowners, so all in one, right? So the system's going to be all wrapped and all controlled by the inverter. You're going to have this state-of-the-art lithium-ion battery. We're now working with LG Chem Resu batteries. The 10H will be here very shortly in the United States. I understand that they're on boats now on the way here. So you'll be able to get them very quickly and couple them with the SolarEdge inverter. This system with the auto transformer is designed to automatically switch to backup loads for your home. So this does a couple things for you. One is we're automatically picking which loads to power when in backup mode. We're not running the major loads like your pool pump. You don't want your pool pump running when you're running off a battery. You're going to run for an hour, 2 hours, maybe 3 hours at night. You want to conserve the energy in the battery and only use it for those applications where you need it, home lighting and maybe running your microwave even. You can do that. But air conditioning, pool pumps, we'll keep them separate, and we'll have a backup loads panel so that when the system automatically switches to power the backup loads panel, you're segregating out the energy in order to conserve it. So this is on-grid applications. So right now we're not doing fully off-grid, but we're doing grid-connected, backup-ready inverters. DC coupled, so this gives you higher efficiency. It's also a very clean way when you're tying into a breaker. So if you're used to thinking 100 amp breaker, 200 amp breakers, I've got a 20% rule, and how much PV can I put on there? Now you got batteries. And if you've got two inverters involved, now you've got to share this backfeeding capability. And how do you size that? This gives you one inverter so that all you're worried about, just like you did before, is the breaker sizing for that one inverter, 20% rule. Everything's still the same. We're keeping the battery on the DC side. So it's just like another string of solar panels. It just plugs in to the inverter. It's 400 volts and ties in just like it would a string of panels. So again, we'll fully integrate with storage or SolarEdge monitoring. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Compatible with the LG Resu 10H battery. Make sure that you remember the H. I think of the H as high voltage. And so, there are LG Resu 10 batteries, and those are the 48 volt. Those are the low volt. You want the H, you want the high voltage because you want this looking to the inverter like it's a string of solar panels. So for you, this is going to increase your revenue on selected jobs. It is eligible for SGIP in California. If you're interested in that, just let us know in the comment section on your survey, and we'll get that information to you. We do AC couple a lot of times as well. And the AC coupling, you can use pretty much any inverter. You don't need a SolarEdge inverter because this is going to couple in, and that battery inverter is now the control unit. So we can AC couple. We do see it with a number of partners. So that's available too if you're interested. So again, what's the point? We're going to keep those lights on. So grid goes down. We're keeping the PV running. We're keeping your lights on for you. And that's kind of the visual. Another piece that you might be interested in, this is in your side area as well for your references. You can download this. Top 5 ways to make more money with monitoring. We've seen a lot of installers 100% of the time are doing monitoring, and some installers 0% of the time are doing monitoring. And I think the ones who are doing monitoring all the time are going to benefit over the long term. One is number one, right? We talked about how you're going to lower your customer acquisition cost, and over 70% of you said referrals. And so number one, referrals. And how are you going to use the monitoring portal for referrals? We'll talk about it. I've got a great tool for you. I've got a trick, and I recommend you use it. Service, if you're monitoring a system, now you're in a position to give customers better service. You have better visibility of the array. You can correct things remotely and do all of that remote troubleshooting so that you're providing that 5-star service. And I know Yelp may be going out of fashion with some of the other under folks, but in the 30 to 50 crowd, Yelp's still one of the main areas that people are going to for reviews. So you need to manage those Yelp reviews, and providing the service helps you do that. Connection fees. So this is around module level monitoring. So we don't charge anything. If you want to give a customer module level monitoring, that's completely up to you and your business model. This is a way to stand out, though. Not everybody can provide module level monitoring, and some companies try to charge for it. Some inverter companies will try to charge for module level monitoring. We don't. So it's up to you. You can offer it or not offer it. It's your business decision. It's something you should look at the pros and cons of internally and decide what you want to do. Alliance program. So we do have an alliance program, and you can get free stuff. So hey, if these other things didn't make you money, we're giving you free stuff. So real quick, on the connection, our inverter connects to the World Wide Web. It connects to the cloud, if you will. And so that's where it's transitioning all the data. So all the data goes up secure. This is highly secure data getting transferred to SolarEdge servers. And once that data is in those servers, you can draw that data with your smartphone. You can draw that data through a computer, through the monitoring platform, and look at it there. If you want to know more about monitoring, I recommend this webinar on the bottom, May 25th at 10 o'clock Pacific time. SolarEdge monitoring, know before you go. You can register for that on our training page. We'll talk a lot more about monitoring. Today, I want to focus on mainly the app. And SolarEdge, if you don't know, we have an app for monitoring. You can download it on the Apple iTunes Store. You can download it on Google Play. So Android devices, Apple devices, you can use this app free of charge. What this app allows you to do as an installer is to track weekly, daily, yearly production. You can see here where you're tracking your inventory of installations. So if you have 100 installations, they're showing up in your app. And when you see one that you want to go and look at, you can click and it'll show you summary of the performance of that site. There are little buttons here that'll give you driving directions to that site. So if you have a service team and they have these systems located on and uploaded on their phone, they can get driving directions from one site to the other directly through the app. So you don't need to worry about tying in and copying addresses and getting the wrong address when you copy and paste. So I'll go into a couple other features here. This demo account is a major opportunity. And I want to talk about that. And I want to talk about how to drive referral business through a trick. So first of all, how do you sell today? And how long does it take? How complex is it? Are you selling on technology? And do you bring a suitcase and you have to open the suitcase at the kitchen table and you're pulling out racking and panels and an optimizer in your hand and you've got 20 data sheets on the table? Sometimes it's complicated. Sometimes it's better to get that initial elevator pitch out of the way early with less hardware and less technology. You're selling on kilowatt hour, that type of thing. You're paying too much the energy. So here's what I want to introduce: selling with a smartphone. And this is a fresh idea. It's a new idea. It's something I'd love to get some feedback on. But what you're going to do now is you're going to sell the experience of monitoring. And if you consider for a minute, as an installer, your experience with our inverter is you take it out of the box, you put it on the wall, you take optimizers out of the box, you put them on the rack. Like, you're very hands-on and you're programming the inverter. That's not the experience that a homeowner has. An experience for a homeowner with a solar system, a lot of times is nothing. Like, they'll look at it, they'll see it on the rooftop. They might look out at the inverter out of the corner of their eye. But without monitoring, they don't really interact with the system. Monitoring provides them a way to interact with the system, a way to track the system, a way to send information to friends and neighbors about the system performance. So the monitoring a lot of times is the experience of owning a solar system, and getting that daily curve of power production on their inverters. They're getting that through the monitoring portal. So if that is the experience of owning a system, a lot of ways, having a car, you can't experience a car unless you drive it. So this is going to give customers a test drive. And you're going to let them test this system out, ownership of this system out, with an app. You can download this to their phone. If they have an Android phone, you can get it on Google Play. If they have an iPhone, you can get it on the Apple Store. And they have access immediately to what we're calling a demo account. And they also have access to public sites. So public sites provide you more sites. So you get a lot of sites to look at. It's limited in terms of the visibility of information, but you do have access to that. The demo account, it's less sites, but it's going to give you a richer experience. They're going to be able to see more stuff. So you can use either one of these. No usernames required, no passwords required, no sign-ins required. You go straight to public site, straight to demo account, and you have access to it. Okay, that's the first thing. That's how you're going to start this off. You can use your own iPad, you can use their phone to do this. All right, so right off the bat, we have a basic view. So here's a site that we have uploaded here. You can see how much energy it's made today. You can see how much energy it's done this month over the lifetime. You got this nice picture of the array. We can see the temperature outside. And then as you scroll down, we have all this other information. So you can see that nice solar production curve. I picked a good sunny day for this one, so there's no clouds or anything like that. Beautiful sunny production curve. And you can see month over month, quarter over quarter, year over year energy production comparisons to previous time periods. So in this case, we've got months selected. It looks like we installed this in 2016 in April, and you can see how the energy goes up and then the energy comes down. This might be in Australia somewhere. We're getting more energy production in December. Then you've also got this little widget at the bottom. It shows you light bulbs. It shows you trees saved. It shows you, carbon dioxide offset. So they have all this information in the basic package, and they can track and see their system performance. So that's the basic package. With one hardware change, you can put them into consumption. And what this allows you to do is to see how much energy not only you're producing and pushing to the grid, but how much energy are you buying from the grid. And having those 2 meters allows us to figure out kind of these dividing lines. So how much PV are you producing for the home, and how much are you buying from the grid, and then how much is the home consuming in total? Or you might be pushing energy from the PV to the home directly, and you can see the remainder going to the grid. So now you can see if you're doing a net metering at a time of use, you can see that energy flowing. So this widget becomes visible when you have the consumption meter installed. So this is the level 2 service. Another nice thing, look at the data set now. You used to see just a green curve of solar production. Now you've got reds and blues. You're seeing self-consumption. So this is the PV that you're producing, that you're using immediately in the home to satisfy the home demand. So if somebody wants to be more self-sufficient, you can show them that they are. And if you got the red here, that's how much you're buying from the grid and not providing on your own. So now you've got a much richer data experience that you can show them. So that's a consumption metering, again, with the widget on top, and now with self-consumption visible on here, consumption from the grid, and solar production visible as well. This is what you need to enable that. This is the consumption meter. It's a couple $100s to your distributor. When you include the labor to it, it's a couple $100 more to the homeowner. So now you've got visibility into home energy usage. You've just given them that level 2 of experience. Like you can see it's different. You've got widgets and colors. Everything is now richer in the monitoring platform. They can also see their own energy usage, and so can you. So if the homeowner decides once they install solar that they're going to increase their air conditioning usage, that they're going to increase their lighting usage. Maybe they're not going to have the discipline they had before. They have solar, and they're going to increase how much energy overall that they're using. Now you're going to be able to see that. So if you get that call in the middle of summer and they've been running their air conditioning every day in June or July, and they say, hey, my electricity bill just came up, and I think my solar system is not working. You need to be out here and fix it. You've got visibility into their consumption patterns. So you can go back and look at how much did they use a month ago? How much are they using now? And you can show them without driving to the site. You can do a screen share. You can do a webinar just like we're doing today, maybe. Or you can send them emails to say, look, here's your consumption. It's gone up. Are you using the air conditioning more? So you can have that conversation without having to go out there and think, okay, what's wrong with the system? It looks like everything's working fine. And you find out there's this humming noise over to your right-hand side, and it's the air conditioning that's been running all day long. So this gives you that remote visibility to run your own operations as well. And a lot of times when people have this visibility in their home, so the homeowners can see this data, a lot of times they want to lower it on their own. They're going to be looking for way like, whoa, wow, why am I using so much electricity at this point in time? They're going to go and figure it out on their own. And so that's been a big piece of it too. So not only does the homeowner have the visibility, you can come in and maybe you sell a whole energy solution. Maybe you're going to come in and change out their pool pump for them. Maybe it's another angle for your business and something you can provide as add-on services later. So it's a good tool to look at. We do know sometimes the CTs are a little hard to install. So we have been getting that feedback. We are looking at alternate solutions for you. But definitely look at this consumption meter. Figure out if it'll work for your business. It's a great add-on, only a couple $100, but it adds a ton of visibility and a lot more information. The last one, of course, is StoreEdge. With StoreEdge, you still see the widget. You see the battery added on here as a source of energy. So you've got the panels and the battery fully integrated in here. This only becomes available when you do the DC coupled storage. So if you're doing an AC coupled system, you're going to have to talk to the battery supplier basically for that to see if they can maybe merge this information together. But when you do the LG Resu 10H battery, you do the DC coupled solution, this is what you're going to see. And we'll show you battery state of charge. That's obviously something very important you want to know. And it'll show you energy going into the home. Now this looks like it's probably early in the morning. I probably took this screenshot. Look, it was a European site. You can see how much money they've saved here in euros. And this is late at night. The PV is off, and this person is powering their home directly from the battery and a little bit of juice from the grid. That may just be a trace signal from the grid there. So you can kind of see where the battery is now supplying the energy from the home. So now they've gotten another upgrade on their monitoring platform. You still get the same visibility as before, self-consumption, import. One of the nice things that you might notice here is when the sun goes down, you're still self-consuming. So there's still this blue trace. That's because he's pulling energy from the battery. So that is also visible on here. You can see when you're using the energy from the battery. You can see if you're using it daily, how is it cycling, that time of use comes on. Maybe it comes on at 6 o'clock and poof, now the battery is providing that energy from that point of time on. So that's also available. And this, when you package it all together, this kind of provides you with a 1, 2, 3 punch, or a small, medium, large type of sales approach. And if you're in marketing, you kind of know if you provide 3 options, people are going to kind of gravitate maybe to the middle one. Maybe they'll gravitate to the top one, depending on how you price it. But between basic and consumption, you're looking at a couple $100. Between consumption and storage, you're looking at a couple $1,000. So the gravity of it is kind of on that middle one in terms of providing them options, which is going to help you make hundreds more on every job now. And when you're presenting that, I personally, I would not use basic, consumption, and storage. What I would look at is personalities. So if you provide someone labeling like essential, informed, vigilant, if they see themselves in that label, they're gonna gravitate toward that, right? So you've got essential. This is the person. I just want the bare essentials. I just want the basics to kind of get by. If the person identifies themselves that way, they're gonna go that way. They're gonna want the essential package. So you've given them a personality characteristic that they can gravitate towards. So I would relabel these personally, something like that. You use your own creativity and a thesaurus. Informed, this is the person, okay, waking up at 6 in the morning and they're on their iPad reading through the news and they're tracking the news all day long. That person who does that is going to see informed. Yeah, that's me. That's me. I want informed. What is that one? That's okay, got it. Vigilant, or the guy who's ready for anything. This is the guy who's looking out to the future. That guy's more interested in storage. So if he's seeing a personality characteristic that he identifies with on your sales sheet, they're going to gravitate that way toward the product. So that's something to think about too when you package these and how you word it. Instead of just saying, well, option A, B, or C, or basic and plus and deluxe. People don't see themselves as plus or deluxe. They see themselves as informed or vigilant. So just something to think about when you're labeling your products. The last one, selling with a smartphone 2.0. Okay, so we did all of that. We've got our what do we call it? We got our essentials and informed and vigilant packages. We're showing that. Wouldn't it be great if we could use this image to our advantage to make more sales after we're gone? So this is somebody that they already own the solar system. We made the sale. This person's got storage on there. They got the battery. You can see it in the widget. And so we've closed the sale. So this is after we're done. This is a couple months later. They're enjoying the app. They're looking at it. And they notice this little icon at the top, this little box with the arrow. And they press it. And when they press it, this selection screen comes up where they can share their performance. They can message it to a friend. They can email it. They can add it to social networks like Twitter and Facebook. And when they do that, they're going to be sharing a view that looks similar to what you see on the left. So depending on the platform, they'll share different views. But the view on the left is one that you can see. The first thing that you can see is where in the app, this is their personal app on their own phone, they can see their own address. So here you can see this is in Hawaii, United States. It's a commercial site, so I'm not sharing somebody's address here. But when they share it on networks, that address goes away. So that's the first thing. So privacy-wise, they're not blasting their address to everybody on Facebook, people like that. But we're going to talk about this image now and how it can help you. All right, first of all, When you create a site in the monitoring portal, hopefully most of you have all done this by now, you'll notice that there's this upload site image. And most of the time we'll go out and we'll take a nice image, maybe a drone flyover image. So we'll get that nice up sky view of the house. And we're like, all excited about this image. And we load it right up. Okay, I want you to take 5 minutes more and do a trick. Okay, this is the trick. Before you upload the site image, this is what I want you to do. Take the original image, beautiful blue skies, trees. Wow, I love this. I can't wait to upload it. Not yet. Add your logo, add your phone number. This is your sales phone number. This is where you want people calling who are interested in you coming out and installing solar. This is your sales number, not your service number. It's your sales number. And then if needed, add a little backdrop, like this white semi-transparent backdrop. You still have retained the photo. It's still a very nice looking photo, but you're getting your brand out in front of anyone that this person shares their information with. And you're reminding them that you're the installer. So 6 months from now, maybe they don't remember who did their system, but it's right there on their phone. So when they're at the PTA meeting, dropping the kids off for school, when they're at the gym and they're talking about their solar system with somebody and they're showing that performance, your logo comes up immediately with your phone number, and they say, hey, can you set me up with your installer? They can push that button, they can message it right to them, and now they have the information. So that's how this, it's very easy to do. You can use a photo or a photo editor if you want. I just did this in PowerPoint. It's not terribly complicated. So that's all you're going to do. You're going to add your logo and phone number. You're going to add a backdrop, kind of like what I did here. You're going to save it as a new image, and you're going to upload that new image right there where it says site image. So you're not going to do the one on the left, you're going to do the one on the right. And then that puts a virtual business card in the palm of every one of your homeowners. Instead of, taping this to their fridge, now they got it on their smartphone, they're not going to get rid of it. It's easy. So we're going to transition from that view to the one on the right. So hopefully a couple of these tricks are resonating. Last thing, overcoming competition. So we talked before, guys are coming in with multiple bids. I've got 3 bids before I even walk in the door. Okay, we see that. Educated buyers, a lot of them are going to call out, have these bids. They want the latest tech. Now you've been armed with all this information that we've talked about today. Your referral business is growing, and now you're going after new business. So you've got the leading technology backing you in SolarEdge. You've got more energy, and you can explain that, whether you're using the analogy of the Christmas tree lights, the 3-legged race, or the tandem bicycle. Now you're going to be able to set up the case that these panels operate independently. They're going to outperform panels that don't. Backup power when the grid goes down. So when the grid goes off, does your PV shut off with that other technology, or does it stay on? With mine, it stays on. So if they're interested in backup and they're going to invest in batteries, they're going to pay thousands of dollars for batteries, go with SolarEdge, get the system that'll stay running when the grid goes down. Keeps your PV running, and you can draw energy from the battery. So that's how you're going to explain that. Latest code compliance, providing off switches for your panels, monitoring, and then you can go in and show them those 3 options. You got the essentials, you got the informed, you got the vigilant, whatever you want to call it. You're going to show them those ABC options on the monitoring, giving them an idea of what the experience is like. And you can leave that behind on their smartphone. It's a free app. You can download it. SolarEdge monitoring is all you need to type in to either one of the search engines, and you'll get it on Google Play, and you'll get it on iTunes. In addition, future upgradability. So one of the fears when people install solar is they get stuck and they can't upgrade. You can put an extra power optimizer onto a string and add whatever panel is currently available. So if you go in today and you install 280 watt panels, and you've got 10 of them on a string, and you want to add 6 months from now, they're 320 watt panels, you can do that. You can tie in different wattage panels on the same string with SolarEdge. You're not worried about imbalances or anything like that. So upgradability is easier to do later on. And with these different options, you've got consumption monitoring, you've got storage. You can kind of look at providing other services that are kind of in the same energy space. Because if the person's interested in storage or solar, they're going to be interested in lowering their energy bill in general. So, maybe with that consumption meter installed, you can come back and say, "Yeah, I noticed something that maybe your pool pump's running. Maybe we can do an upgrade there." So that's upgradability. The last but not least is the salesperson. The number one most cited reason for why I chose this technology or why I chose this this solution, it usually comes down to the salesperson. And as a technology person or as a marketing person, you want to get that case study written. I've written my fair share of case studies before, and we always ask, so why did you choose SolarEdge? Well, I really like the sales guy. It's like, okay, well, other than that, what did you really like about SolarEdge? So with this, it does come down to the salesperson. So providing that level of service, being attentive, paying attention to their concerns, aligning the technology with their concerns, and kind of getting those check blocks marked off in their head. It's going to be why they choose you as an installer. It's going to be why they choose us as a technology. And we understand that. So we're here to help you. If there's anything you want or need from us, if you want to know more about the co-branded flyers or you need some more collateral, if you want to know more about how to sell with the monitoring platform, you want to know more about storage, consumption, whatever it is, we're here to kind of support your sales effort. We do understand that you're the front lines of this, and that you're going to be the number one most cited reason by far on why they're choosing SolarEdge and why they're choosing your installation company. So with that, I'm going to switch over and see what kind of questions we've got. All right, doing questions at the end. And I think we're okay on time. Yep, we're right where I said we'd be, 10:45. So one of the comments here is, okay, electric cars wanting to go solar. Yep, absolutely. That's a good demographic to look at. I think the main ones that we've seen, people who own pools, people who own air conditioning, people who own electric vehicles, they're going to have a high load in their home. So a pool pump, I used to own a pool, we filled it in, but I used to own one. It's a high load, and you're running that high load for hours a day. So whether you have a high flow pump or low flow pump, if you've got an older pool pump, you're getting blown away with electricity bills, like I was before I filled that thing in. So yeah, those are demographics that you want to look at. So as you're walking up to the home, do you hear something? Do you hear an air conditioner on? Do you hear a pool pump on? Is the garage open? Do they have an electric car in there? So now you're going to know right off the bat, within a pretty good range, what type of electricity needs they have. And then you can refine that as you go. Okay, if you're interested in the SGIP, leave us a comment when you fill out the survey. We're learning all the time about the SGIP program in California. We did a webinar on storage a couple weeks ago, and we focused for like the first 20 minutes on the SGIP. We had Brad Hevner, who is policy director for CalCia, on that webinar, so we've kind of got a good understanding of where we need to be with that. So anything about that application process, we've kind of gone through the Excel documents, and we've figured out how to fill those out and that type of thing. So definitely get in touch with us, leave a comment in the survey, and we'll know to reach out to you. Do you have to install the app to make a demo account? So, okay, we'll talk about demo accounts here for a little bit. Let's say you have a customer and they're interested in making their site public or making their site a demo account. So as an installer, you need to have created that site in the monitoring platform. So there does need to be some software site created. And then if they elect to, you can make that site public or for a demo. When you make that site public or for a demo, it's visible to pretty much anyone, people, anyone in Europe, anyone in South Africa. There's no geofencing around it. It's public and it's a demo site. So they can choose to. It does help your business. They do need to install the app to see those accounts. So obviously, there's no way for their smartphone to go and access these accounts. So hopefully that's answering the question. But they can elect to make it a public or a demo account. There is a selection on the admin page that you'll have access to make those available. Another option that you might want to think about, that there is no app required, is the kiosk view. So there's something in the monitoring page. When you go to the admin, you can click kiosk view. And what that does is it creates a web page And when you copy that link and paste it into any browser, now you can go on and see the system performance. Like if you're walking into the lobby of a company and you're going to see general energy usage, you're going to see trees saved, carbon dioxide, light bulbs. So you'll see that information there in a kiosk view. So you do not need to have anything installed for that level of visibility. But for the demo accounts and the public accounts, you'll need the app for that. You do not need StoreEdge for consumption meters to work. Consumption meters will work on any inverter, any residential single phase inverter that we have. Basically, you're going to install the box that you saw has a meter inside of it. That meter will have CTs that need to be installed on the incoming lines from the utility, and then you're going to have communication that goes to the inverter. So it's RS-45 485 communication to the inverter from the meter. The meter will take its power from a voltage tap on the lines that it's already connected to, kind of in the main panel. So you do not need StoreEdge for that to work. It works for any inverter. So it's a great option to kind of give them a one level up view. Okay, well, yeah, I'll go ahead and answer this one. This is about the Tesla Powerwall 2. Tesla has discontinued the DC version of the Powerwall 2. They have an AC version. We do AC coupled to the AC version of the Powerwall 2. If you want a DC coupled solution, it'll be the LG Resu 10H, and that'll be available in a matter of weeks. So if you can AC couple though to the new Teslas. Let's see. Yep, that's the Powerwall 2. Got a couple questions on that one. Okay, so if you need to change a panel down the line, so we talked about upgrading a customer down the line, and you're going to put in a new higher power module. Do you need to put a new optimizer? Okay, so yeah, let's talk about optimizer pairing and how that works. So let's say in the example I gave, you have a 280 watt panel, and let's say you build that entire array with P300s. Now you come in 6 months later and you want to install a 320 watt panel. So obviously you can't put it on a P300. You need a higher power optimizer. We do offer the P320s. And as you'll see later this afternoon, we offer a P370. So, if you need to, you can put in the higher power optimizer. It will work in a circuit with the lower power single phase optimizer. So the P300, P320, P370, P400 all work together. So if you have 72 cell modules and 60 cell modules and this power class and that power class with all these different optimizers, I don't recommend you do that. But in 6 months, if you're coming in to provide a higher power module, pair it with the optimizer that works, and it'll integrate with those other optimizers. And it's fine to have different optimizers of different power classes. We will send out the slides afterwards. We send out a survey after all of our webinars, so fill out the survey, and then you get the slides in an email. SGIP again. So we did cover that. Leave a comment in the survey that you're interested in SGIP, and we'll reach out to you on the SGIP. So I've got a couple questions on the demo account. So I'll kind of cover that a little bit. There are some systems that are monitored through third-party services, and that data does not come to SolarEdge. So as we kind of laid out before, SolarEdge inverters send information to the cloud, and then they go to SolarEdge servers. Those SolarEdge servers then provide you the information for demo accounts and for public accounts. So all of the public and demo accounts are on SolarEdge servers in order to give us that visibility. So if it's monitored through third party and we're not getting the data, then you won't be able to monitor those. So all the demo accounts, another benefit of a demo account, if you're interested in creating one, let us know. We do have our service techs monitor the demo accounts to make sure that they're up and running. And if we see something weird with them, we'll reach out and either we'll fix it ourselves remotely if we can, or if it needs to be fixed, we'll contact you. Because obviously the demo accounts, you want to show the best systems, and they're always running. So we put a little bit of attention there. So if you are interested in a demo account, you do get SolarEdge kind of watching those from time to time and monitoring, because we use those too in our sales process. On the co-branded flyers, so you'll get the slides after you fill out the survey, and in those slides is a link. You can either copy it, type it, or it should be active in the PDF. Just click on that. You'll go to a form, and then a little bit of information, just stuff so that we can process the form. Like you need to upload a high-res logo. You need to provide us with an email address so we can email you the soft copy after we're done making it. We need to know your company name so we make sure it's the right logo. Stuff like that. So just click on the link that I showed earlier when you get the slides, and you can get your co-branded flyers. We'll do the software version for you. And again, it does come as a print-ready file, meaning that you have full bleed and trim marks. So there may be some confusion out around the Powerwall. So I'll just clarify that again. The Powerwall is from Tesla. They make it, they sell it. So we're not in control of it necessarily. They made the decision to discontinue the DC version, which would DC couple with our inverter, and they're only making the AC version of the Powerwall 2 now. They did have a DC version of the Powerwall. You could call it a 1.0. They did not call it 1.0, but the first version, it was 6.4 kilowatt hour battery. That still works DC coupled with StoreEdge. There just aren't that many available on the market. If you can get one of those, then yes, you can DC couple it to our system. If you can get two of them, you can DC couple it to our high power StoreEdge. So they are available. Those are quickly being installed, and they're not making any more. So eventually those are not going to be available. So going forward, the Tesla Powerwall will be an AC version. You can AC couple it to any SolarEdge inverter, so you don't need StoreEdge. Some people like that because they can AC couple it to an HD Wave, for example. So that is an alternate. But the DC, they discontinued it, and they're only doing the AC battery. Okay, so here's a question. Can your customers call SolarEdge support directly if they're experiencing issues with their system? So installers need to be the first line with customers. So and there are a couple of reasons for this. One of them is you want to keep your brand in front of customers. Like you want to keep your brand front and center for the homeowner. You want to be responsible for them having good service, because when they refer you, they're referring you and not SolarEdge. So that I think of the customers, I think of the homeowners as the second and third sale. So on average, a person who has a solar system will refer 3 friends or 3 relatives or 3 people. 1 out of 3 will close. So if you think about that, every person where you install solar is going to give you another installation down the line and another installation down the line. So your steady state business could be 100% sourced from referrals. And if you don't want to service them, then you're losing out on that opportunity. So I think what you want is to be front and center with the homeowners. You want your brand front and center with the homeowners, and you want to be servicing them directly. So the first line of support should be the installers. There's a huge benefit in it for you because your referral business is how you lower your customer acquisition cost. The close rate on referral business is somewhere around 30% on average. It is the highest close percent you can get. Anecdotally, you'll hear numbers that might be higher or lower. A lot of times I think of those as maybe marketing numbers or somebody trying to sell you something. But on average, a referral is going to close about 30% of the time, which is phenomenal for what we're trying to do. And each homeowner, especially if you're providing them with all of this level of monitoring and sharing and social, maybe it's higher. We haven't measured anything higher. But we would love to get this information out and see if it does drive more referral business, because now you've got a software platform that's running your referrals for you. So, and again, we're not charging anything for it. You just have to go and add your logo and your phone number to the picture, and now you have a referrals engine. So give us some feedback too if you see that working for you. I'd love to get feedback on this type of content. to see what guys are seeing in the field for real. Does SolarEdge consumption monitoring have marketable advantages over aftermarket systems? I think we do, and the main reason is, if a person gets a solar system, they're going to install one app on their phone, and then you're like, okay, here's a consumption meter. Now install another app on your phone, and okay, here's home automation. You're going to install another app on your phone, and eventually they're going to delete one of those. And if they're monitoring their solar system because it's coupled to financial savings, then they're going to be more interested in seeing how their solar system does than maybe their consumption platform. And if the consumption platform is tied into the solar system and it's integrated and it gives them another level of monitoring support, like you can see the widgets and the multicolors, and now they know how much self-consumption they're doing, and they know how much they're buying from the grid, and like the data richness is there, the integration is there. I think the SolarEdge system is going to be better mainly because of that, because it's integrated to the monitoring, and the monitoring is how they experience their system. They don't need another login. They don't need to remember another password for another system and another company. They're going to forget one of these two, and they're probably going to forget the consumption one instead of the one that they're monitoring on the app that's giving them information without requiring a password. So I would say that it's probably better from that point of view. So if you put your logo on your own system, okay, so to whom would publicity of the company be visible when we put a logo on the SolarEdge monitoring? So if you put the logo on that photo and your phone number on the photo, the person sharing the site, if they share it through email and they share it through Messenger, I know the picture comes through, so the logo comes through. So those direct channels, which are going to be used for referral, are going to show your logo. If they do it on Facebook, I believe they can share it with the photo as well, but they may have to take a screenshot and then share it that way. So there are different platforms. If you make it a demo account or a public account, then people can see it as well. So making it a public account, you've got more competition. You've got a bigger range of sites that the customer may scroll through and see, and maybe they don't see your logo as much. But if you make it a demo account, now it's about 12 sites that you're competing with, and if you want to get your brand out in front of them, then that might benefit you. Powerwall and compared to LG. So the Powerwall at this point in time is 13. I think it's about a 13.5 kilowatt hour system. The LG is a 9.8 kilowatt hour system. So the LG's got more energy storage. They both are around 5 kilowatts of power. So I think they're comparable in terms of power output. The Tesla's got a little bit more energy to it. Pricing, I don't know enough about the pricing to say that there's too much of a difference. They seem in the same ballpark. They're both priced very well compared to alternate battery solutions. The main difference is going to be on the installation side. With the LG, you're getting a DC coupled system. With Tesla, you're getting an AC coupled system. And Tesla is going to be working on solutions to make that go in easier. But on the DC coupled system, something to think about is you have one inverter that's controlling your PV and your battery, and that inverter is tied to one breaker. So if you're looking at backfeeding, 20% rule on your breaker, you got a 200 amp panel, you put the 40 amp breaker in there, it ties into the SolarEdge SE7600A-US. The S2 is the new one, so the S2 is the one with the high power that works with the LG. And now everything's kind of integrated and working together, and it all flows into one monitoring platform. So that kind of integration, seamless approach is nicer for the DC coupled. The AC coupled solution is a little bit bigger for a kilowatt hour. And if you're doing like line side tap type of installations, you might be able to get more batteries on that system. And Tesla is coming out with some very nice ways to integrate it. I don't have all the details on that, but it's something you should ask them about is, how do you integrate these systems when I have PV? Do I have to make the PV smaller? Can it be the same size? But both are going to be really attractive. We do work with both. On the Tesla side, it's AC coupled. On the LG side, it's DC coupled. So it's maybe a technical discussion on how you end up wiring it for the customer experience. We will integrate the battery with the monitoring platform when it's DC coupled. The battery probably won't be integrated on the platform, or the PV won't be integrated on their platform as easily. You might see the production, but you won't see. You probably won't see all the data. All right. Okay, last one, and we'll close on this one. I think we're doing pretty well for the day. Well, a little bit over time. Um, so last three advantages against, let's just call it other module level power electronics, specifically microinverters. If you want the latest in safety, module level power electronics give you both. So microinverters and optimizers both provide that. But if you want your PV to be on when the grid goes down, microinverters turn off when the grid goes down. So a big gotcha, like, oh, wait, what are you talking about? I got batteries on the system. I've got storage. I've got all this capability. Why is my PV turning off when the grid goes down? That's going to be a service call unless you explain that and you're upfront about that. So with SolarEdge, you can keep the system up and running when the grid goes down. So if they care about storage, you really should be looking at something that will provide less confusion and solve one of the biggest misconceptions of solar in the industry. Um, you know, the other thing I think you should be looking at is just the bankability side. So those are probably the big two right now. They're both module level power electronics, so they're both representing the forefront of the industry. Both companies are innovating; they're coming up with new technologies. We're coming up with new technologies. So I'd say you're competing against the two top technologies in the industry there, and so from from that point of view, you can't really go wrong, but you can do better with one than the other. I believe you can do better with SolarEdge. So that's it, and I'm going to thank you for your time today. Thank you for joining me. I hope this was a great resource for you, and we'll keep presenting these types of webinars for you. Have a good rest of your week and a good weekend.